Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to get started on episode 38 of the Case 310G Bulldozer Restoration Project. I'm going to bring you along, hope you enjoy. We are going to get started on disassembly of the bell housing. There's some parts I want to change in here. Probably a new throwout bearing. I have a feeling that our grease line is punctured or shot because there is a ton of yummy schmoo behind the bearing instead of being forced into the bearing. Don't really know what's going on there. Never been in here before. Should be a fairly quick disassembly video. There's not too much going on here. We're going to bring you along. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for more if you're new, and hit the bell icon so you get updates of my premieres and future content I release. First thing I'm going to do is detach our grease line. Looks like I have a compression fitting here perhaps. Using a 9/16 and a 1/2 inch wrench. Let's see what we can do. Try it down here. Okay. This one appears to be loose. Right here, I think is where our blowout has occurred. Let's see. I can pull this. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh, that's just finger tight. Okay. There's some of the deliciousness of fighting. Yummy. Now I got to try to turn the camera off. Having the throwout bearing removed, still going to go after this line, which is quite tight. There we go. This is like a little hydraulic line. I guess it does have brass fittings. So definitely have a weak spot here where it's rubbing something. We'll have to clean that up and have a new one made so we can oil or grease our thrust bearing. We'll leave that fitting in for now. I flipped the bell housing down, as you can see. We're going to remove all of these 3/8 bolts and pull the output shaft out the back. And then I don't think I'm going to have to do anything with the fork, the throwout fork, because I think it's just brass bushings and they appear to be tight and in good shape. So we may be done sooner rather than later on our disassembly. Going to remove the adjustment arm here. Hopefully, she's kind of dry. Oh yeah, I think it's right. Got our cotter pin out. Need a little penetrating oil. Using the old PB blaster. That stuff works pretty good. Got our punch. labeled. There is a little bit of a step from wear on him, but we still may reuse that. It's not excessive by any means. Now we can get this all cleaned, get it sandblasted, get our threads chased, and just perfect so we can actually adjust this when we need to. Looking here in our book, the exploded view, you can see that number 2 corresponds right over here is just a bushing. So I'm not going to pull the cross shaft and the yoke because I don't think it's necessary. It's just a bushing, so there's no lip seals or anything in there that have gone bad. There's just no need to pull it, in my opinion. Obviously, we're going to need to get this clean before we can go to primer and paint, and I want to replace the bearing that's inside there, and of course the throwout bearing as well. I'm going to add some pictures of this exploded view, and that way if anyone else is in here working, hopefully they can get the parts they need without buying a book if they don't have one. We are moving in to the rear plate of the bell housing. We have 4 3/8 bolts all the way around. This should separate. I don't believe there's any shims. I don't believe the in play is any factor on this. I could be mistaken. We'll learn together. I'll go ahead, take these loose. These are 3/4 of an inch. Yummy. Okay, easy enough on that. Our bearing comes right out. It's kind of gritty. You won't be able to hear it on camera, but it's a gritty old bearing. And this is quite interesting. We have a machined shim here. So I don't know if this has went out. I don't believe this is in the parts book. I'll have to double check. This ring does not correspond with anything in the parts book. I don't know if that's an update for a later 310G, or perhaps they had a bearing go out and churn out this housing. I don't know, but it appears to be working fine, so I'll probably leave that as it is. I think we're ready to head over to the parts cleaner, and then I want to get this bearing clean before I start trying to remove it. I'm going to be using the Harbor Freight parts washer. We added this angle iron stand underneath, and that actually brings this up to the right height where you're not bent over all day. And we are just using Napa brand general purpose parts washer fluid. As you can see, the casting is coming along quite nicely. It's cleaning up nice, but I did decide to pull the cross shaft and the yoke because I could not get all of that deliciousness. That is solid grease. Hopefully you can tell that. So I wanted to pull it. It did come fairly easily. This is the shaft. We had 2 woodruff keys, which I did have to hook on with a vice grip. Mar those slightly, but woodruff keys are cheap and easy. Probably even reuse them because this doesn't do a lot of work. Now we can continue to clean, but I'm just going to check back in when it is clean because you guys have seen enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all of our parts clean. I need to do some investigation to see if I can get new bearings. I have found the trade numbers, thankfully. The housing is as clean as I can get it. That looks like it's dirty, but it's either so ingrained in the pores of the Glipdol or it's just casting. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but that is gray cast iron coming through, almost like the nose of the starter or something was rubbing. I don't know. It's as clean as I can get it with the parts washer. Obviously, I don't want to sandblast this all out, and I've never seen this anywhere else, but if I use brake cleaner on this Glipdol, at least from Case, it turns it a nasty, dull, flat color. So I'm not going to be using that if I can help it. So we have everything disassembled. It's been a good episode, at least in my book. This is definitely an aftermarket repair. Quite a nice one, I will say. That has been peened. We'll go over that later in the assembly of it. But everything is clean, looking good. The backside of the casting turned out quite nicely. Even has a shine to it. So, brass bushings are good. That doesn't do a lot of work. I wouldn't replace them even if they did have a little bit of chatter in them, but they're good and tight. So, I think everything came apart quite nicely. Only thing I'm concerned about is finding bearings, but I think they'll be out there. And if not, I have a couple good machine shops that we can find a workaround for. This is a close-up look at the thrust bearing. Roller Bearing Company. And then the trade number, we rotate it around, is a A2721-3. Honestly, this one would probably last forever. Sounds quite good. Obviously, it's a little dry. I just filled it and cleaned it completely out with parts cleaner, but I'm going to try to replace it. I will use it if I have to. We are looking at the output shaft of the bell housing, and this one, made in USA, obviously. It is a new departure, and it is a little hard to read, an 88107, I believe, possibly with a C at the end. There, it's even better. 88107 with a C, I believe. And it is quite gritty. Probably would last forever with the amount of hours I'm going to put on this dozer, but I'm in here. I'm going to change it. You guys know me by now. We've reached the end of another episode. I'd like to thank everybody for coming along on the adventure today. Please subscribe if you're new. Hit that like button. That really helps out the channel. Comment with your thoughts. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.